we are going to have an introduction to that system right now. Okay? So, when my opponent is standing, most often they're standing slightly staggered. And in just the way he is probably going to be the most common. If he's square with me, with both of them forward, just go for this one right away. Go for this one right away. Okay? But most likely he's going to be back like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot in the same manner. I'm going to go here and I'm going to scoot in like this. Now this position can be conceived in one of two ways. Because there's lots of De La Riva guard guys that do the sit-up guard and then they switch to the sit-up guard with the shin to shin right here. Or you can conceive it as a slightly off-centered butterfly guard. See how my hooks are still kind of in between his legs and they're going to be working from this position? You can conceive it either way you want, from like a sit-up guard or just butterfly guard with him standing. So that perspective switch might kind of influence how you perceive it. So, nevertheless, what I'm going to do is scooch in. I don't do it slow, but I just did it slow now. Now, I call it shin to shin, but it's a slight misnomer, because you don't want your shin with his shin. You want your right here of your foot right in line with his foot there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab his leg and hug it super tight to my chest. Okay? Now, with this hand, I'm going to establish this grip as soon as possible. I have some good control of his posture. I can push him, or I can pull him down with this grip. And in this case, I'm going to be pulling him down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this hook right here, and I'm going to pull him directly on top of me, like this. I pull him on top of me. Now, what I do is I'm going to be using my shin to shin. Look how tight I'm holding his leg. I'm going to be using my shin to shin to kick up and flick my leg in between his legs. You see how my leg position, mine is in between his two legs? Some of you are going to do this position and you'll kick the shin to shin and you'll go to the outside like this. That's definitely not what you want. Because here he's in a knee slice position just smashing your chest like we learned with Home Alone. Okay? So, I grab here and I flick it and get my foot on the inside. Now what I'm going to do immediately, as soon as I'm able, is I'm going to put my foot right on his hip, like this, holding on to his leg. Now I'm going to use both of my arms to get this foot up on my shoulder. And I'm going to hold his leg with my left arm just above his knee, like this. Now be careful about reaping. If I take this foot over the point of his hip, this will be an instant disqualification. So, you want to be sure that your foot does not cross the hip. If anything, play a little bit conservative on that. Yes, it's more control if you can do that. Okay, so it's tempting to do it. And that's where we're going to stop this technique. This position right here is called the single leg X guard. So I'm going to start in here. My opponent is standing with a staggered stance. I scooch in. I immediately get my grips. And I don't wait. I pull him on top of me like this. And as soon as my back hits the ground, I'm slightly delayed in doing this. As soon as my back hits the ground, I kick my leg through. Kind of hip out and make the foot right on the hip. Now both of my hands are going to be used to help to get this foot all the way up onto my shoulder. I grab just above his knee. Now, I want to be shrugging my head this way as well. From the single leg X guard, go ahead and just kind of come back on top of me if you can. Maybe even put your knee down. That's very common from this position. Good. From this position, you don't want to allow his knee to drop to the mat here, like this. You don't want to allow that. That's why you're holding right here, so we can't do that position. Okay? So, one last time. I'm right in here, playing with him. I scoot in, I make my grips really tight, I kick, I come to the hip, both hands, and I get control of the single leg X guard. What I anticipate the problems being, number one, you just airball on the shin to shin. No names on that one. Just kidding with you. So you'll do this. You'll just forget about the shin to shin. Because you'll get all concentrated with the butt scoot and miss it. Problem number 2 is you're going to hug the leg like this. You have to control it like tight. Problem number 3, I already mentioned, is that you may kick the leg and have your leg hinged not in this position, but in this position. And you'll be like, how do I get the foot on the hip? Where's the leg going? Okay? So those are the problems I anticipate so you can avoid them. Alright? Do you have any questions on that? Alright, let's go ahead and drill it. Alright, so now we're going to work on our entry a little bit. And we're going to see how the warm-up techniques are used in this system. Instead of just scooching in, and which is kind of relatively passive, you're just kind of, butt scooting in and getting your grips. We're going to attack right away with this sweep. Not with too much intention of getting the sweep, because I'm not even going to try and push my opponent over. I'm just going to try and make these grips on his legs, and if I can, I'll push him over with a push and pull. But he's probably going to step out of it, and I'm going to go to this position. You'll see what I mean here. So he's standing like this. What I'm going to do, regardless of his stance, I scooch in, and I hit him, and I grab my grips. And I'm going to hit him hard here, so it disrupts his base, and he steps back with this one. Step out of it. Do kind of like one of these forward and back movements to get out of that one. So I'm here, I come in, he does forward and back to get out of it, and where does that leave me? It leaves me right here in this position. In which case, I pull him on top, and I kick, and go to your position. Now, what I'm seeing, based on you guys doing it, it's not anything like technically wrong. It's just the timing, where you might not be able to gain the perspective needed on the timing. You guys need to kick as soon as your back hits the ground. Kick the leg. You can't fall back, work from this position, and kick. Of course you can, but it's not ideal. Okay? So, you're going to start here, where you're going. I'm going to attack with this sweep right away, but I'm going to make these grips when I attack with the sweep. You see how I'm pushing him back a little bit with this? I'll push-pull. And right when he steps back, I make him get into the position where I want, which is kind of this off-center butterfly. So right here, right here. And we're in our position. Now, from here, what to do? Sometimes when he has his knee down, look at how this knee is down. We're going to coach our bad guys now. I want your knee down with both your hands on the ground. Okay? Sometimes it's hard to slip in that second X hook here. But that's okay because you can sweep from here. You just extend, put your foot on the ground, and stand up really quick. Now I use this pressure that I have with my left hand to pull open his knee, and I support that pressure with my right hand and walk this way. So it's the same as the standard X-guard sweep. The standard single leg X-guard sweep, where I have the full X-guard, I extend my hooks, I get up on my arm, my foot comes to my butt. Hey look, we're in single leg X-guard right here. Okay, my foot goes to my butt, right leg comes back, and I stand up. If you're flexible, which I'm not, you can have the foot to your butt and just come all the way up. You don't need to go to your knee. Less flexible people, you can go to your knee and just pop up. So, what we did is we added something at the beginning and something at the end, but the middle stays the same. So we're here. Does anybody have any questions on the move? Alright, let's do it. Now, the thing about Marcelo's game is there's not that much complexity. Most of the moves are easy, and it's very offensive, and he just keeps attacking until the opponent gives him something, until he basically kind of quits. It's the same, I don't know, from bottom, 8 moves over and over again, different permutations of those same moves. So, this is kind of an example of that. We're going to do the same series, and we're going to get into this position here. Okay? So we're going to attack him with the same way. I notice he's a little square. I come in, I push him, he steps out. I get my grips right here. And now, from this position, I have the option of going right back to the sweep if I sense it's a possibility. Now, I can hip out this way a little bit, as maybe I don't want to go to the single leg X, or maybe I'm having trouble, or I just sense this opportunity with my opponent, and I put my foot right behind here, and I push him over. And then I stand up and get on top position. So I'm right here, I go. I'm playing the position, maybe step this leg back even more. From here, it's a little awkward to pull him in. From here you can still do it, but it's a little awkward. You kind of want to be like this. So what you're going to do, hip around a little bit, and I sense the opportunity, his foot is right there. Just come on top. So what I want you to do is I want you to alternate between what you just did here and this move. So perhaps maybe do this move a couple times before you start alternating, so you get a feel for this move and then alternating between the two. So you get this shin to shin with the leg hug, hip around, get the angle and push, and then double ankle attempt to the shin to shin, pull them on top. Single leg X guard, single leg X guard, single leg sweep. There's a lot of single legs in that sense. Okay? Any questions on that? Alright, go ahead, do it. Okay, so we have some supplementary video clips for the techniques that you learned. The first one on YouTube is Marcelo Garcia training with the Hickson Gracie Black Belt is the name of that. That will be up on our Facebook by the time that we are done with training. And the first one I want to show you is Marcelo actually does 2 of the double ankle butterfly. He kind of scoots in on his opponent, boom, goes for it, and then he backsteps and there's nothing to come of it. And he does it again, so his opponent is already aware of the sweep. He takes a step back, and then Marcelo recovers the shin-to-shin position and pulls him on top, and we'll kind of see where it goes from there. So let's take a look. I'm going to watch it silently. So here, butt scoot, right there is where he tried the first one. So he's aware of the sweep, and right here he's going to try the second one. Right there, he steps back and gets the shin to shin. His opponent tries stepping over his leg, he lifts his hook, comes into the single leg X guard position, and this time we transfer to the full X guard. So in the full X guard, he tips him back and gets the sweep. And that's the sweep that we're familiar with studying home low. Let's get another look at that. There's the first one. Using the second to set up the shin to shin. Lifts the hook up. All the way on the shoulder. Slides in the second hook. Lifts his hooks off the ground, extends a little bit and pushes. He also has some additional control by controlling his sleeve and his collar up there. So that's example number 1. Example number 2, cue it up here. Example number 2 is also very interesting. Let's take a look. Let's just watch. Right there, he tried it and used it to set it up. Did you see that entry? Tried the sweep. Now look, he gets control of the lapel. That's always better. Think of any technique that's hugging the leg, and usually doing the lapel is better. Where did he go with that one? From the shin to shin, he flicked his leg behind his other one and did the double ankle one. Let's try it again. Look, scooting in. There was kind of a little attempt at the double ankle, feeding this underneath, Lots of possibilities from here. Now watch him scoot around this way. See him scooting around? Goes behind, pushes him over. And you already have a nice single leg built into it because you're hugging his leg. So any scramble is like a severe disadvantage for that guy. Okay. Now, it's one thing, not to take away anything from this gentleman rolling with him. However, it's one thing to do it to average black belt, and it's another thing to do it to another multiple-time world champion. So we're going to take a look at Marcelo rolling with Cobrinha, and you'll see some of the same moves and the same finish that we did today. So let's take a look at that here. We can do sound on this one. So Marcelo here working the 2-on-1. Gets a double leg here. This is where our series starts. Shin to shin, you'll see it kind of float in and out of shin to shin. It's not hugging the leg, so he's able to step out, no longer shin to shin. So Marcelo, right there, recovers shin to shin, pulls him on top. Tried the straight arm lock right there. Tried that straight arm lock we learned last week. Now we're in full single leg X guard. And now look how compressed he is. There's no room here for the full X guard. Cobrinha is trying to control Marcelo's foot so he can't stand up on it, so he can't extend him on his hip, etc. He stands up really quick from the single leg X, and Cobrinha pulls guard. Let's take a look at it one more time. Shin to shin. It's hard to see. He loses it here because he's working the 2-on-1. That's what he was working from the technique that we had last time. He wasn't really trying for the single leg X. Now he is. Watch. Right there. Did you see him try and snag the arm? Now full single leg X. Tight position here. So as soon as he gets control of his leg, he just whips it up and stands up on it. There you go. He actually did this sweep multiple times to Cobrinha, so it's definitely worth your investment. You see him do this to everybody, this type of sequence. So it's kind of tricky. Let's say you're a member of MG in Action. It's like, and there's thousands and thousands of moves, and you know Marcelo's great, but ultimately, what is his system? You know, where do you start? You know, there's lots of good sweeps and everything, and if you watch enough videos, you'll be getting pieces of the game together. But if you study a video like this, you get to see which ones, what are his opening moves? What does he do, you know, first? What does he do in the highest frequency, the highest occurrence? And that's why you can do it. So, what I want to do is I want to start your rolls. It doesn't matter who. Let's have the upper belt actually start in the butterfly guard. Go anywhere you want after that. As soon as you get the tap, upper belt, the highest belt, and we're going to start in the butterfly guard and attempt to apply Marcelo's game. Okay? Alright, get your war gear on. Let's start sparring. Don't mind that there's my arms. Hello, Roderick.
Hello. That's a nice seat. Oh, man. Yeah. That's why you could have their arm.
I'm still kind of cold, so.
Really? Yeah,
No, those are like really good songs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm in.
That's how I get some.